Welcome to the SAP TechEd. We are at fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm here with Paul Hardy and Michelle Crapo. We will be talking about all matters ABAP today, and ABAP surprisingly made a comeback at this event, so this should be interesting. We'll just draw random questions, and we will try to answer as much as we can. So first one is SAP ABAP better than C#?
Can I give a one-word answer and say yes?
Simple yes or no question.
ABAP might not have been at the start, but it's evolved dramatically as the years have gone by. They keep adding Java-like features and recently Java script-like features, so anything's missing, it tends to arrive sooner or later.
Michelle?
Would you like to say anything?
My turn. Yeah, definitely. ABAP's better. I mean, it's self-documenting, and as Paul said, whenever anything isn't there, it does show up. And at this conference, we were totally surprised that we still get to use it.
Thank you. Okay. So interesting. Which is better, ABAP or functional consultant at SAP? It's a loaded question, isn't it?
Well, you're going to get a very, very biased response, I think, from both of us. I was a functional consultant once upon a time. I used to do fixed assets with my speciality. And being an ABAPer is 1,000,000 times more fun. Because if something's not there in SAP, I can add it. That's what I've got to say.
Very biased for me, too, is went back and forth as well. I started with ABAP, I went to a functional consultant, and I hated it. So my bias is ABAP is so much better. If it's not there, we can add it. And if we have to, we can talk to our functional consultants.
So Paul, I'm curious, having experience as a functional consultant, do you feel it makes you a better ABAPer? Does it make you do things differently?
Yes, I think it probably does, because you're seeing things from both sides, and no more writing specifications on the back of a post-it note, which is the normal state of affairs.
Great point. Thank you. So will the SAP ABAP be useful in the future?
Well, if you asked me that last week, I'd have said, no, it's dying. But luckily on Tuesday, it was announced, yes, it's going to be used in the cloud. So yes, it has a future, which is fantastic. Otherwise my book, ABAP for the Future, wouldn't make any sense.
Great point.
Of course, ABAP has a future. As Paul has pointed out, if you would have asked me last week, I would have said you'd learn another language with ABAP, but this week we can even do ABAP on the cloud, so very cool.
Another question, does SAP have a better idea to push ABAPers to HANA except open SAP courses? And I'm curious to hear about it myself, if you will.
I might have to pass on that one. I've got no idea what their plans are. I haven't even done over those massive online open courses myself, so I'm going to phone a friend.
Oh. Okay. I've done open SAP courses, and they are wonderful. So I would push people that way, but there are all kinds of things, and I haven't seen anything SAP-wise except for their courses and their books, but there are all kinds of things. If you do a Google search, you can find different people who offer help. And never forget SAP community and the blogs, because they help a lot too.
Yeah, and this question comes up a lot in the community. I feel SAP should take a notice of that and maybe do a slightly better job, or at least make it more clear. Excellent question. What are the most underrated or undermarketed new features in the recent ABAP-Stack for developers? Well,
I can answer that one about underrated or unknown. It's the ABAP unit test framework. Because I keep asking people about it, and they say, what's that then? And that's been there for years. It's been in the non-SAP world for even longer, but it's been ABAP for a while, and I keep asking developers who say they've got 30 years experience, nope, never heard of it.
Yeah, that's a great answer. A lot of people have never heard of unit testing. A lot of people also have never heard of the thingy, the thing where you can put your own stuff inside the code review. Anyone know that answer? You can, when the code review happens, you can automate a lot of it. Anyone know the exact name of that?
ABAP test cockpit.
No, it's... Oh well, that's okay.
Thank you. Another question, are you learning any new programming languages, and if so, which ones?
Unbelievably, I've printed out this book and I'm reading it very slowly on Lisp, which came out in 1956. That's because someone on the SCN, or whatever it's called nowadays, says, if you learn that, even if you never use it ever, it will give you a different way of looking at problems. And with all this artificial intelligence around, it seemed like a useful thing to do.
Yeah, great point. Sure.
I've been learning Java. I've picked up JavaScript and XML, HTML, but now I don't know how much I'll use it.
Great point. We can go just back to ABAP. Very technical question here. Will ABAP finally have high-order functions creating possibility?
I know the answer to that one. Up until about the last release of ABAP, there was no such equivalent. Functional languages like JavaScript have what's called first-order functions, and ABAP had nothing at all like that. But they've been recently introduced in the later releases keywords like reduce and about one or two others, and they can be described as the functional equivalents. And I'd direct any ABAPer looking to the book Functional Programming, to Google Functional Programming for ABAPers, and you'll find a great presentation which will tell you what the difference is.
Ha! He said it well, and I get to pass.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Excellent question. Another one. What programs should I prepare for the coding section in SAP Labs, as I am an ECE student? I guess the question may be what scenarios are good use cases.
Throw that over your shoulder.
Throwing it out. Going to the next one. Okay. So what is the difference between SAP HANA development and ABAP on HANA?
Okay. I think what I might mean by that is that when you write so-called ABAP managed database procedures, the language you're writing in is not ABAP, it's SQL script. And that could be, that's a notable difference. So that could be HANA development, but it isn't using ABAP. It's using the database-specific language.
I think that's a good answer too. All of us weren't real sure where ABAP was going with HANA. The one thing I would say is that we used to bring everything up into our program, and with HANA in memory, we're not going to have to do that. So we might want to let the database carry more of the load.
Yeah, great point. More question. So, good question. If you're an ABAP developer that doesn't know any other programming languages, what should be your first step to change this?
Okay. Well, I was in that very position myself, and well, I'd done Pascal many years ago, but nothing modern. And I just got the book on Java explained or something, and that was really good and useful. Just gives you a general idea of what other things are out there.
I would say JavaScript. It's fairly easy to learn, and it goes well with the web.
Great point. Great supplements to ABAP knowledge. And our last question for today is, how do I practice SAP ABAP without having access to SAP?
Okay. What this is called the Cloud Appliance Library. where you can get an Amazon Web Services account, and you can, it's a horribly complicated process, but once it's finished, you can get your own SAP system where you're the only user, and you get charged like $1 an hour while it exists. Is that anything to add? Or?
Can I say good answer? It's almost impossible to do ABAP without some sort of SAP system. So I would say you'd have to have some time that is built. I think they have one at Amazon too.
All right, that was our last question. Thank you very much, Paul and Michelle, and thank you for watching.